Mexico Pack Burros gear garage here. I've done just a dump of all my gear out of some of my panniers. Thought I would do a video about just some odds and ends that I take. I'm gonna assume that most folks know that they need some sort of pack saddle, either sawbuck or decker like I have here. They need panniers to carry stuff in, either something like this or an open top style like I've got up here. So these are all just the odds and ends of things I take. So first thing I've started using a lot that I'm pretty excited to tell folks about is a portable electric fence charger. Previously I've used a Highline setup. Those work great, but I think these portable electric fences are just so more versatile. You're not stuck to trying to find a couple of trees that work for your scenario, and you can set this electric fence system out under a tree, include some grass. You can make it as big as you want, pack in as many posts as you want, and I just think it's super versatile. It's also really light. It runs on just a couple of D-cell batteries. The batteries I've had in here, I think they've lasted about a year. I'll set this up in my yard throughout the summer. I let the burros graze on it a couple of days a week. Then I take it in the backcountry. I usually replace the batteries every year, but no problem at all running one set of batteries for the entire year, including grazing my yard and other random trips that I do. They run about 90 bucks. They're fairly inexpensive. You can get them at Tractor Supply, Big R. This is Patriot brand. This is the name brand for Big R stores. I'm sure Tractor Supply has their own brand. Gallagher is a name brand that makes these, also really good, but very handy. Other things you'll need if you want to start using an electric fence are these cheap fiberglass or plastic poles. This style runs about $2 at Tractor Supply. And then there's this style. They're just a little bit different clipping systems for the wire rope. Either one works pretty well. I've actually cut both of these down so that they pack a little better. This is the full size. If I hold it over here like this, you can see I've cut, I don't know, about 6-8 inches off one side here. And that just makes it so I can put it horizontally along the animal. I wrap these up in an old towel or something like that, and then I can pack them across the panniers instead of having to go in line with them, potentially poking the animal in the face or the butt. So I'd recommend cutting them down. I think Eric Lynn at Mountain Ridge Gear gave me that pro tip. It works really well. The other thing you'll need for an electric fence system in the backcountry is some sort of grounding rod. Something like this works really well for drier soils, rockier soils that don't have a lot of moisture, thus are less conductive. If you're camping in some sort of meadow or some mountainous area that's really wet, a lot of times you can get away with just using a small piece of rebar. I've done that before. 18, 16 inches of rebar does the same thing. The purpose of this is to ground out your electric fence. So this actually has 2 cables. I've only got one attached right now, but this goes on to your grounding rod just like this. You've got a second one that clips onto the positive up here, and that just clips onto your electric fence line. So really easy to set up. It's something that's kind of intimidating to figure out, and we'll do another video later on how to set one up, but really easy to use. I'm using it a lot more than my Highline setup now. In conjunction with that electric fence system, I'll use Hobbles. I've got a couple sets of Hobbles here that I got from, I think, like Amazon or just some online tack shop. What I looked for was this adjustable centerpiece. A lot of these centerpieces are just all the same size. This one has this sliding buckle here, so you can adjust the width of how far apart these are. That's important because burros have a much narrower stance than a horse or mule. So this actually allows them to be hobbled instead of just walking freely with the big set of horse hobbles. So I use these with the electric fence. I'll let them graze, in the evenings while I'm at camp with the hobbles, and then stick them in the electric fence at night or when I'm gone out doing stuff, hunting or fishing, whatnot. One thing, if you want to put it on your winter bucket list, is to learn how to use a Lash cinch. You use this with rope and tie a series of knots called hitches, and that helps pack your panniers a lot better. It allows you to put a top pack on your load on top of your pack saddle. It just makes it so much more versatile, and it's a lot easier on your animal because it's lifting it's lifting the weight of the panniers off the animal a little bit. It's compressing it all. It's keeping it a nice little tidy package. I always use the analogy of it's like the lifter straps on your backpack. It just kind of brings that load up off them a little bit and compacts it. It makes it a lot easier on them. So this one is made by Trailhead Supply. Sounds like they're going to start making some burro sized gear. They made this one for me. I'm super excited to use it. It looks like a traditional style Lash cinch, except burro sized. So really excited about that one. This one's made by Mountain Ridge Gear. This one's got about 50 feet of, I think, 3/8 inch nylon rope on it, which you'll need to tie the hitch. And it's also burro sized. Before they started making these ones, you'd have to use a horse or mule sized one, and it was just too much. You had too much length here. It would start to wrap around your panniers and just be no bueno. So really excited. There's a couple of different options now. Some other fun gear that I've picked up the last couple of years is the Sea to Summit kitchen sink. It's a 20-liter bag. It works super well for carrying water or putting water in your electric fence. It's a lot easier than carrying buckets. It's just a collapsible bucket, and this fills with a lot more water than you would think it does. So this is definitely worth its weight. I think it's like 20 bucks at REI. Extremely lightweight, ton of different uses, and it's great for watering your animals. These gold panniers, use these for pack burro racing. It's one of the things you're required to carry on your animal, but they also make great backcountry feed bins. So if you're feeding your animal some supplemental feed, giving them some grain, or maybe they require some sort of medicated feed in the backcountry, these are super lightweight and easy to pack, and they fit together just like that. A pack scale, super essential, especially with burros. You're dealing with not a ton of weight and not a ton of room for error. So it's really important that you get those panniers within a couple of pounds of each other, or you're gonna fight it all day down the trail. So get yourself one of these. They're all kind of the same style. This one also came from Mountain Ridge Gear, but really handy and essential part of burro packing stuff. Other things, so I got a hatchet here. I use this to pound in the ground rod, as well as, tent stakes, anything else you might use it for. A little more useful than just carrying a hammer. I used to carry this small little hammer, but that's all it's good for is a hammer. So got myself a decent hatchet with a good cover on it. Last two items, I really like this Sawyer squeeze system. This connects onto one of these bags. You fill this bag full of water, you connect it to this and squeeze it into your water bottle. Really handy, and it's nice to be able to carry water back to camp. So I've got a half dozen of these that'll fill up in a creek. Then I can just sit back next to the campfire or on a tree and not be stuck on the creek bank and trying to fill my water bottle. So love this system. Finally, last thing I thought I'd show you guys is, depending on the situation, is I will still take my Highline system from time to time. What the gist of this is one end goes around one tree, this end goes around another tree, and your animal's in between. This system came with a metal swivel on it, so your lead rope for your animal goes through here, tied in some sort of quick knot fashion, and your animal just stands there, stands tied. It's not going to go anywhere. This is something I used in grizzly country. I didn't want, if they got a whiff of bear, I didn't want them to take out of camp, but if they saw a bear or something bad happened, I attached this piece of baling twine here as a breakaway, so they were still able to break away if something happened, but I was just more comfortable with a solid Highline system while I was in grizzly bear country last year in Montana. So still definitely use this. It's a great skill to learn. Still very popular with about everybody who uses the backcountry, but the portable fence system is just so much more useful as far as going on road trips with your animals, going to pack burro races, keeping them contained in the backcountry. It's just a lot of bang for your buck. That's it for today's gear dump. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm Shane Wiegand with New Mexico Pack Burros. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, or nmpackburros.com. And if you would, like and subscribe, I appreciate it.